Say it ain't so. Cody Bellinger, once a Dodger MVP, is now part of the evil empire over in New York with the Yankees. It's Deferred Collusion. We're back. It's me, Jesse, joined by my favorite bass player. They call him the South Bay Slayer, Branden Bollinger. What's up, buddy?
Jesse, dude, let me get a D-Generation X from you real quick.
How do you want me to D-Generation X? I don't know.
There you go. Well, dude, if you don't like it, dude, I got 2 words for you. Stay tuned for later. I'll give you the 2 words at the end of the episode.
Okay.
But Jesse Rowe, it is a pleasure to be back. Oh, my gosh. We got the Deferred Collusion family back together again. It has been a wonderful week since I've seen you last. Our guy, our former Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
Our former MVP. Our former Chicago Cub is now a New York Yankee, joining his father, Clay Bellinger.
That's right.
As now as father's son, Yankee pinstripe wearers. I was gonna say legends, but I think that's a little dramatic.
That might be a bit extreme for Clay Bellinger.
Might be a little dramatic.
Well, you know what? Hey, I got
but
this for you.
2-time World Series champion Clay Bellinger.
World Series champion Clay Bellinger. That's the correct way to refer to him. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he was so Cody was officially traded after the Kyle Tucker was traded to the Cubs. They shipped Cody Bellinger out of town over to the Yankees. Obviously, the Yankees needed to find a way to replace Juan Soto. I think this is like a B grade solution for replacing Soto, obviously, but I think that the Yankees made out like a bandit in this deal. I mean, they sent over Cody Petit, who's basically like almost like a 4A pitcher. Nice. He's a guy that comes in, be a spot starter, eat some innings for you when you're rotating.
Jesse, I'll be honest with you. I thought it was Cody Poutine the first time I saw his name, and I had a double take at it, and I was like, oh man, I'm dyslexic. I can't read.
No,
I can't read
you know
it
what's
all.
weird is I did hear somebody pose this question earlier. Is this the first time ever that like 2 guys named Cody were traded for each other? Let us know in the comments. I'm not 100% sure that might be the case, but it's obviously a salary dump for Chicago. They were trying to clear some money off the books. Here's the thing about it. It's only a good trade for Chicago if they do something with that money. Otherwise, you're just freeing up money. If that owner over there is just pocketing money when you are the 4th most valuable franchise in baseball, then it's a despicable trade. But if they actually use that money to do something with it, like I assume maybe they're in on like getting some bullpen help, or maybe they're trying to sign Corbin Burns. I don't know. But apparently they are like $50 million below that first tax threshold right now. So I think that they just clearly wanted to free up some money to sort of supplement the roster a little bit, because I guess they just didn't feel like they had a spot for Belly anymore. I don't know.
I think it's weird to get rid of Belly, one of your most productive players all season last year. I know the numbers don't really jump out at you, but still a productive member of the team.
And he revitalized himself with your team, by the way. He revitalized his career with the Cubs.
He did have a great, was it 2022? Was that his comeback player of the year? 23 comeback player of the year. Yeah. Yeah, so it is a bit of a head scratcher, right? Cubs make the trade for Kyle Tucker. You think, oh man, they're going all in, kind of backing up Craig Counsell. You know, I think they're paying him like $8 million a year, something crazy, something spicy.
It's like the biggest managerial contract ever. Yeah.
But it does give me a little bit of, I don't know, maybe excitement, because I'm like, hey, I was a big fan of Rookie of the Year. You know, I love that movie. I'm kind of a Cubs fan, I guess, because of it. Hey, Rowan Gardner. But I think maybe, Jess, does this signal to you that they might be going all in on Kyle Tucker and clearing some space, because they know they're going to have to offer him the largest contract in Cubs history to keep his services outside of this season?
Yeah, but it wouldn't affect. Here's the thing about Bellinger's contract, though. It was only for this season and an opt-in for next year. So it's only a 2-year deal. So how much does that really impact signing Kyle Tucker now? His extension would only kick in next year. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't. I don't know how much that would really affect. What I think it is that they are going to try to go out and sign. Maybe they sign Bregman now that they've traded away. They've traded away Paredes. They've traded away Cam Smith. Both of them are third basemen. Maybe the Cubs freed up some money to make a signing for Bregman. I actually think that's a fucking kind of a good fit, if you ask me.
You know what, dude? I do kind of like that. And Jess, if you remember, there was some rumors coming out before Belly went to the Yanks that Houston was kicking the tires at the winter meetings with the Cubbies about a Bellinger trade, but had concerns over his comments after the 2017 cheating scandal came to light. So maybe you're onto something. Maybe the Cubs are making a move for Bregman as well, and had to get old Cody Pop out of there, dude. Didn't want any heat in the street.
No, and I've seen a lot of Yankee fans who are already really embracing Cody Bellinger because of those comments. What Cody said was it was in, I think the commissioner's report had just come out where he called the championship trophy a piece of metal, I believe. This was shortly after that. And Cody was talking about the Houston Astros, and he says, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that Altuve stole an MVP from Judge in 2017. Everybody knows they stole the trophy from us. They stole the championship from us. And so Yankee fans now are sharing that video. It's spreading like wildfire in Yankee land, and they are embracing Cody Bellinger. What I got to say is about Cody in a Yankee uniform, we are both Dodger fans here at Deferred Collusion. We love Cody Bellinger. His season as an MVP and Rookie of the Year, those two seasons were some of the most exciting, electric seasons we've ever seen as Dodger fans. You are going to love this guy. He is a true, he's a gem, man. He's just a gem. Whether he plays poorly or plays well, he always shows up. He plays great defense, but he's also a great character, great personality, great clubhouse guy. They're going to love him in Yankee land, and that pisses me off. You know what I mean? I'm happy for Belly, but it sucks. It's like when you see somebody, you see a guy go, like a friend of yours dating like your ex. You know what I mean? You just don't want...
Jess, I do think I know what you're talking about. It's almost like somebody's wife dated another fella on that team, old Mike Stanton.
Oh yeah.
Big league name Giancarlo. There's some hubbub about that. Belly's wife and the mother of his child dated Giancarlo in the past. Yeah. And I've seen, I'm sure you have too, plenty of memes about it, poking a lot of fun. One that I did think was fun. It was a picture of Stanton and his big old dump truck, dude, just big ass. And then it was like, she left that for this, and it was Cody swinging, and he just had the flattest pancake butt.
Oh, yeah. I think
it's like
she picked the wrong guy or something like
that.
But
it also leads me to this. Back to what you were saying about the Cody for Cody trade. Jess, I gotta say, I think Cody ranks up there with about, like, top 1% whitest names. Like, that's got to be in the top 3 conversation for whitest names in the game. Cody.
No, if you're going to struggle to find a guy named Cody who is not white. Let's just be real. You're going to struggle to find that. Either way, so I guess before we move on here, who do you think made out better in this deal? I know it might be a little bit like TBD on the Cubs side of things because we don't know what the Cubs are going to do with that money. So I guess maybe the right question is, are the Yankees better now than they were with Juan Soto?
Short answer, defensively, yes, they are better. Especially with the additions of Fried. I'm forgetting somebody. Wasn't there somebody else?
Devin
God, from the Brewers.
Devin Williams.
Devin Williams. Jesus Christ. Sorry, Devin. So overall, I think I've seen the number. It's like for those 3 guys, it's around $45 million the Yankees are paying. Soto's going to make $55 million next year. Pretty insane. So Cashman is cooking. I mean, he is doing a lot to make that team better. Bellinger, I guess, is going to slot probably in center. I think
they've said he's going to play center. They've already said he's playing center. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got, great foot speed, great glove. Anybody who hasn't seen it, watch the 2020 playoffs. Bellinger has an incredible robbery of Fernando Tatis in dead center. One of the best baseball plays I've ever seen. But
he also has great range. Incredible range.
but he also has a huge hole in his swing that I hope he fixes. But my God, Yankees fans, you're going to fucking hate watching him swing through a little breaking ball on the inside. Just,
Yeah, I know. He has like two swings, I've always said. He has like his power, beautiful lefty swing, most beautiful swing in baseball. And then he has this one where like the bottom just falls out of his batting stance. You just don't even know what it's like two different people. One thing I was going to say about Belly is they're saying that he's playing center field. That could be a little bit of gamesmanship for the free agent market, just because I do know that they might be trying to sign guys like Christian Walker, maybe Pete Alonso, although I doubt that's the case.
Doubt it.
But like also Anthony Santander is out there. So there could be some gamesmanship where they're like leaving first base open because Cody can play first base if they need to. They might, who knows? They might try to bring back Rizzo on a 1-year deal. I don't know why you would at this point, to be honest. But there's just there's a lot of they're trying to fill first base. So if they say Cody's playing first base, they lose all the leverage on that potential signing. So I don't think that they would do that. So
yeah, and you know, just to put it, just to touch on you know, his two swings. You know, I think he's got that juggernaut swing, and then he's got the baby giraffe just born, like, oh, I'm all limbs and wacky, wonky guy. And it sucks because it's like, you know, when he's right, like all his length and everything, it makes him so graceful, dude. But when it's not working, it's about as clunky as it gets. But Belly, we love you. We're rooting for you. Jesse Rowe is not a hater. But speaking of one of Belly's old buddies,
the guy that tore his shoulder out celebrating
ripped it out. So strong. Kike Hernandez did a little pod where he got a haircut. Very, very Puerto Rican. I loved it. But Jess, it kind of got the wheels turning for you, didn't it?
Getting a haircut is very Puerto Rican. I've always said that.
You've always said that. And I'm like, dude, other nationalities get haircuts.
I know.
And you go, yeah, well, it remains to be seen for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the Crespi kid, dude. Can't take him anywhere. Anyways, Kike, one of my favorite quotes, it happens 3 seconds into the video, but he said something to the effect of, you know, some people will tell me that the 2020 championship isn't real or didn't mean anything. And he goes, so I show him this finger and I go, what does that mean? And I'm like, nah, dude, Kike, I love you. Defend that 2020 championship, dude. Hell yeah. But Jess, in that interview, he talks a lot about his future, where he's come from, and you know, openly says he wants to retire a Dodger. You and I talked about it. It sounded like a guy that is maybe still a Dodger, not a free agent. Even though they talked a little bit about that, the question mark on his IG logo, you know. But Jess, do you think this is a fait accompli? Do you think that there's already a deal made, you know, just written in the stars for Keeks?
Well, there's literally been no talk about Kike free agent wise. Like, I haven't seen his name get thrown around, linked to any potential suitors. I mean, obviously, he's a guy that's probably in for like a 1 or 2 year deal, so it's not all that surprising. A lot of times, those guys get signed maybe like with like a few weeks to go before the season, but especially when you consider last year, where he signed very, very shortly before the season. We're going to get into that, but it does seem like he's acting like he's still on the team, even though he is a free agent. And it would make sense potentially that there is a handshake agreement between him and the Dodgers, only because we just found out that, you know, with the Yankees trading for Devin Williams did an interview where he basically said that he thought he was going to the Dodgers up until the last minute when the Yankees swooped in and made this deal. And I'm thinking to myself, well, who would the Dodgers be trading to the Brewers to get Devin Williams? And if you look at what the Yankees gave up, they gave up Nestor Cortez, but they also gave up Caleb Durbin, a second baseman. Who do the Dodgers have at second base? They have Gavin Lux. What position can Kike play? He can play second base. He can play outfield. It just seemed to me like the Dodgers I think the Dodgers are trying to clear some roster space here. And it would make a lot of sense when you consider, you know, they signed Tommy Edman right away. They extended him right away. They signed Miguel Rojas right away. They brought in, they claim, by the way, 2 days after Willy Adames signs with the San Francisco Giants, the Dodgers say that Mookie Betts is going to be the shortstop in 2024. All things point to the fact that they're trying to move Gavin Lux because Mookie Betts makes a ton of sense to play second base if you don't have Gavin Lux in your future. But why would you say that if you don't want to lose any leverage on a Gavin Lux trade? I think that's sort of where my head is at here.
Yeah, I think I do think you're onto something with that. But you know what? It really makes me think is like, all right, well, what's the pivot then? You know, if you need to clear that spot, where do they go now to make a trade? And
they can't trade Taylor. That's the problem. Is they probably out of all things being equal, I think that the thing that they'd really want to do is trade Chris Taylor. Because, and that's not a knock on Taylor. I just think that like the time has kind of run out on that. He wasn't a big contributor in the playoff run. He can come in late defensive replacement. He's awesome, but his bat has taken a significant drop in the past couple of years. But that contract is really tough to trade. What's easier to trade? Gavin Lux is easier to trade. So I think that's probably our most valuable asset at the big league level that we'd be willing to trade, because I don't think we're willing to trade a guy like Dalton Rushing or a guy like Zaire Hope or some of these higher end prospects for a reliever. I just don't think that we would want to do that.
Yeah, I think whenever the Dodgers look over at Houston and see Yordan Alvarez just being one of the most prolific home run hitters in the game, they go, oh, fuck, who did we trade for? Josh Fields, dude? That was a cool, 2 years that he was great.
That's a great point.
And he was great. And I remember being like, oh, there's really no room for Yordan on the team because there wasn't a DH in the NL at the time. But boy, think of the fuck, dude, if Yordan was there, dude.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have Yordan. If we had Shohei right now, Yordan would have to play left field, and I think that would be a disaster, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Well, dude, he would just mash his way out of any goofs that he would make out there in left field.
Yeah, but I think that the truth is like you have a guy like Dalton Rushing coming up. His numbers actually are looking pretty nice. We're gonna get into him a little bit more when we talk about Teoscar, but. Signed Will.
I was going to jump into it right now. I was actually going to say,
okay,
some numbers are coming out with Teo that he may be asking for around 3 years, 60 mil. I mean, a lot of Dodger fans are asking what's the holdup? And I think you're making a good point with Dalton Rushing. Do you think that that's kind of the holdup? Maybe they don't want to commit the years to Teo, who I believe is 32 at time of recording. Because they want to get Dalton out in that outfield, some combination of Edman, Pages, Rushing, I mean, it's pretty formidable, but I mean, I still want Teo, and for that number, it doesn't sound too bad, but like you said, they're trying to get rid of guys and make space. So do you think the Dodgers are really buying into a new crop of guys coming up from the farm?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they want to bring Teo back. I'm not totally convinced that these offers that we're seeing out there are all that accurate. It just, some of these seem weird. I feel like the Dodgers might have already pulled the trigger if Teo was asking for 3 years. Look, ideally you'd want to sign Teo for 2, because if you could somehow find a way to bring up Rushing maybe a month into the season, and then you can team control him an extra year. You could start his service time a little bit later. They could play that game. I could see the Dodgers doing that, right?
Yeah.
But it just seems like they want. It seems to me like Teo really does want to come back, because where else is he going to get the love from the fan base that he got here in LA? You're just not going to get anywhere else. But they signed Conforto to this 1-year deal. That's basically Teo insurance, but it's also platoon advantages when you have to play Andy Pages in center field on a day when Edman is that shortstop. Yeah, exactly. It just provides leverage, and that's why when they made those extra signings, I'm thinking, well, they either have Teo in these plans or not, because they're gonna. I think that's why they want to move Lux, because they want to get off of that, and they want to be able to have flexibility, because Lux just can't play anywhere else, really.
Yeah.
And I think they want to have a bunch of guys that can sort of play a bunch of different positions. And if you're going to sign Teoscar, he can only play one position. He can only play left field. So I think when you sign Will Smith to this 10-year deal, what are you going to do with Dalton Rushing, the number one prospect in your system, who's a catcher, but he can also potentially play left field? You either sign Teoscar or you have Rushing in mind as the potential backup to platoon with Pages or something. It just makes sense to me that they're not willing to go more than 2 to 3 years with Teo, and I think that makes perfect sense. I think that might be the holdup here. I don't think it's 3. I think it might be 4 years. That's so.
That makes more sense to me. That like,
Yeah.
hey, we'll give you 3 at this, whatever. He's like, nah, I want 4, maybe with a player option. I can see that. And honestly, if anybody's earned it this last season, to really cash in on their year, it's Teoscar Hernandez. He took less money to come to LA in the first place, deferred some of it, goes out, wins the fucking home run derby, becomes a fucking, I don't know why I'm cussing twice. That wasn't necessary, so I apologize.
Fuck it.
Becomes a fucking World Series champion because we just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like he has earned a home in LA, and I hope the Dodgers do the right thing and bring him back. But speaking of an LA kid, dude, your boy Nolan Arenado was dropping hints he wants to be a Dodger, hitting Kendrick Lamar songs on his IG post, Dodger Blue.
Was he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago, but he posted like
okay.
something, and he used the song Dodger Blue on it, and people were like, oh, word? I think even Kike commented on it. But, a lot of talk about Arenado becoming a Dodger for a couple years.
Yeah.
It would have been cool like 5+ years ago, but he apparently just nixed a trade to your Houston Astros. Jess, what does this mean? What's going on? What could have happened here?
Arenado has a no-trade clause, basically. He put out a list of teams, I think it was like a week ago, of teams that he'd be willing to waive his no-trade clause. And the Dodgers were on there, I believe.
Oh, really? I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Also, the Angels were on there, which is hilarious. Because Anthony Rendon.
Man, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, apparently Anthony Rendon is just no longer a member of Major League Baseball, but there's a chance here that this is like just because we're still so early in the offseason. I did see a report from Katie Wu, I believe, who said that this is less about him not wanting to play in Houston and more about him just wanting to see what other opportunities emerge. Because I think he's kind of got it in his head that there's a chance for a Dodgers reunion, or even to go play for the Angels, or to go to a team like I forget who's on his list of teams, but to one of the teams that he listed to play for, because this is apparently probably the first deal that's come to his attention where he had to waive his no trade clause, and it just might be that it's a little early. But of course, MLB fans are running with it right now and thinking that he just doesn't want to go play for Houston, so they're running with that as a story. I don't think it's
I'm one of those fans that is
timing.
running with it, Jess, and I'll tell you why. He's a Southern California kid, and Arenado, I think is a guy that love him, hate him, whatever. I think he plays the game right. Hard-nosed kind of guy. Honors the game, goes after it, and I don't think he took too kindly to them cheating Astros a few years ago, and I think he would rather keep his legacy out of that conversation, even though we are a few years removed. I really do. I really think that has something to do with this nixing of the trade is the term we've been using. I agree that maybe it is a little early, but if he was really just focused on winning and really thought that Houston had some pieces together. Don't forget they still got Altuve, still got Framber. I know he's been the subject of some trade talks. I mean, I know they got some pitching that's in flux, but some stars on that lineup. And if they're trading, that means that they weren't planning on bringing Bregman back. So that's a dip in production. Maybe Arenado didn't see the vision, and with everything else on top of that, like, I don't know, maybe he just felt like, hey, fuck these fools.
There's a chance. There's a chance here that like Houston leaked that Arenado didn't waive the no trade clause, only because if if you're actually trying and bringing back Alex Bregman, why would you want that report out there?
Do you think they're maybe
Maybe
trying to raise the price on Bregman so they can go, well, I guess you're a free
or
agent, man. You got to get them the most money.
or lower it. Maybe if they're trying to keep him, and then Bregman sees that they're trying to trade for him, they're like, Bregman's team is okay. Well, we're willing to accept 6 years. You know what I mean? I don't know. It just seems a little fishy that this is
There's
being.
some
Yeah.
collusion happening, would you say?
Yeah, well, there's some media manipulation going on that story got out there about he didn't waive it for the Astros. It feels like somebody is playing the game a little bit here. I'm not sure who it is, but Bregman, he's just clearly not coming back. If the Astros are trying to train for Arenado, they just traded for Isaac Paredes. They traded for Cam Smith. Both of those guys are third basemen, and now you're trying to trade for Arenado. It's like, okay, so you just don't want Bregman back. Is that what you're saying, or are you saying that you're trying to find a cheaper, more short-term replacement for Bregman? What are you trying to say?
Jess, I think you're onto something, and now I feel like maybe I took the proverbial bait and jumped on it. Right? I'm like, maybe this is all part of the scheme, dude. They're just trying to keep Ali Braggy, dude, at an affordable price point.
Yeah.
Oh man, nasty business this MLB offseason, dude. Nasty business. Them dollars and cents.
Speaking of nasty business, the MLB has released their arm injury report, which has been a while here in the making. I haven't read the full thing, full disclosure, so don't. Everything that I say is just based on things I heard Jeff Passan saying and watching other podcasts and things like that. But this arm injury report is kind of doom and gloom. It's a little bit murky when you consider what can actually be done about the amount of Tommy John surgeries that we've seen over the past couple of years. But basically, Branden, it's all about velocity, and it's not just an MLB problem. It is a college problem, minor league problem, high school problem, little league problem. It goes all the way down to the bottom, and we're seeing more and more injuries the harder and harder we throw. And essentially, it has no conclusion as what to do about it. And I think that's the biggest concern here is, you and I have talked about it, about should we have a universal tack? Would that be, tacking the ball, maybe a universal substance that pitchers can use? That, to me, at the moment, seems like the best possible solution in terms of like an initial thing to do to fix the problem, but MLB doesn't seem to have the answers right now. I think that was concerning.
Yeah, I think it is pretty scary, right? For them to like do an injury report and it's 62 pages and it concludes going like, we don't really know what to do about this. Jess, there was a really interesting quote, and it was about amateur players trying to go, be seen by pro scouts. And the quote was, guys are seeing big leaguers throwing hard and short bursts. The radar gun is in their face more than it has ever been. One college coach said, kids today know the velocity and the metrics of every pitch. And the last thing that goes on someone's recruitment profile is their ERA. It's all about spin rate, velocity, and vertical break. Pro and college teams that are recruiting players at showcases also encourage amateur players to max out their velocity. The number of pitches thrown, the amount of pitchers throwing 95 miles an hour or harder at the Perfect Game National Showcase has increased from 5 in 2014 to now a decade later in 2024, and it's at 36. I mean, that's a pretty crazy jump in 10 years to have 36 amateur players. That's guys coming out of college, minors, independent ball, some straight out of high school, throwing 95 plus. And it seems like it's, we're kind of in this precipice, right, of this new era for amateur baseball. Much like football a few years ago had safety concerns over CTE. We saw halo rules. We saw crowning rules implemented. A lot of emphasis on protecting kids up through college and pros, obviously. But I think that baseball is now on the precipice of its own major changes. And Jess, I think you're onto something about like a universal tack. Maybe not spider tack, obviously, something that doesn't affect spin rate so much, but something that allows pitchers of any age to get a better grip on the ball, not having to focus on these tight little muscles that as you're ramping up and getting bigger and putting more velocity on shreds these young arms. And I don't know, dude, it's tough to see your favorite pitchers just blowing out their arm after a great season year in and year out.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what else you do, because either you're going to say, like as a league, you're going to say, okay, we're going to cap velocity at 95 miles an hour. If you throw harder than 95, then it's going to be an automatic ball or something like that. Like, that's how you keep velocity. Okay, they're never, ever, ever, ever going to do that, because velocity, it sells. You know what I mean? People go to see Paul Skeens throw 100 miles an hour. Yeah, it's dope. You want to see guys throw that hard. Yeah, so
you're never going to pop.
Yeah, you're never going to do that. But if you're a pitcher, right, and you're like, let's say you're in college and you see like some recruiters are going to come by. If you're trying to get into the league, do you think that they're going to take note of the guy who's throwing 91, or do you think they're going to take note of the guy who's throwing 97? They're going to take note of the guy who's throwing 97. So you're going to throw as hard as you can. Nowadays, you can, it's like a non-starter for some guys to even get like a tryout on a team if they're only throwing like 90, 91 miles an hour. If you have terrible stats, but you're throwing like 98 and you have some good spin, teams, you're going to get a contract nowadays. Teams are going to take a flyer on you because of the upside. And so from their perspective, it's worth it to throw this hard, because that's where the money is. You just look at Tyler Glass now. He's got like 5 years, 182 million or whatever it is.
It was like 130 something, 120.
Oh, sorry, whatever his contract was. I apologize. I'm thinking of Blake Snell, right? I'm thinking of Blake Snell's contract. But he never,
the guy whose merch you hate.
Yeah, exactly. He's never thrown more than like 120 innings or something like that. But because he throws hard and he has nasty stuff, he gets the contract. I mean, if you're a young guy and you see the people who are making the league are all the guys that are throwing hard, the big contracts, the big money, like Frankie Montas, for example, he's been terrible recently. But because he still has arm talent, he just got a bunch of money, because teams think they can tap into that. There is no incentive for players to not throw as hard as they can. So these arm injuries are going to keep happening if you don't do something about it. And the only solution that seems to be out there is potentially a universal substance. And so maybe just try it. Just try it out, see what happens. Everybody can use it. It's not to increase spin. It's just to help with grip. That's all it is. You don't have to grip as hard. And then maybe that will help with the guys that throw, 98, 99 miles an hour. Maybe.
Yeah, and maybe, it's not the answer, but it's a part of, an answer, So
try.
I'm about it, that because it takes out some variability, right? And it gives, again, another flat surface to work off of. So I don't know.
Yeah, but because it goes down to the kid level, though, and that's the biggest problem here. Is like, if you're in Little League, do you think that you're gonna make the All-Star team if you throw 45 miles an hour, or if you throw 55 miles an hour? If you're in high school, do you think you're making the varsity team if you throw 65 miles an hour, or 75 miles an hour, or if you throw 85 miles an hour? If you're in college, it's like it keeps going and going and going. So the harder you throw, the better chance you have of taking the next step. And
definitely
they have to do something about it, because otherwise, too many people are going to blow their arm out that never make the league, and then you kind of got blood on your hands at that point. I know it's not as serious as CTE, but it is like, it's expensive medical care for these people that blow their arms out that never make the league, and you don't want that. You don't want that issue, popping up, because that's the precedent you've set. So
yeah, it is a little dark side to the league right now, but hopefully something that can get rectified here soon, dude. I'm tired of seeing Dustin May just blowing out his arm, blowing out his esophagus. The whole damn Dodgers pitching staff, dude, just arms falling off. Our pets' heads are falling off. But, Jess,
Let's end
before
with
we
something
get out of here.
heartwarming, Brandon.
Yeah, dude, something really, really sweet. Wilson Contreras, catcher for the Milwaukee Brewers, I believe, did a pretty sweet thing. Gave a street vendor. I'm not sure where were they. Were they in the?
It might have been. Where is he from? Wilson Contreras. Is he from Dominican?
I think he's from Colombia.
Where is he? He Venezuela. He was in Venezuela.
Damn it, dude! I'm a racist. I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's a beautiful Colombian man. Tipped a street vendor $100, and the reaction was just so heartwarming. The man just reluctant to take it. It was kind of like almost like laughing at first, like, dude, what are you doing? I can't take this. Like,
Yeah.
you tripping? And I don't know. It's just super sweet to see somebody just taking care of people like that, and doing what they can where they can. Like, I don't know. It made my day. I was stoked when I saw that video, dude. Jess.
I loved it. I became a Wilson Contreras fan when I saw it. It went like super viral too. The clip like performed crazy well. But yeah, just to see how baseball is a universal sport, and how I don't even think that guy knew who he was. By the way,
Yeah, it seemed like he
asked
wasn't
him his
aware,
name.
right?
Yeah, so that was cool to see. That was he'll remember that name forever, and it was just cool to see his reaction, especially with the holidays and Christmas coming up. It's good to see.
I wasn't quite sure what the video was going to be when it got sent to me because of the thumbnail. It's just like, I didn't recognize it was Wilson Contreras, but his like fingernails are painted. He's wearing like pink slides.
Yeah.
I'm like, this dude is looking good, dude. He's looking styling. I'm like, oh no, wait, he's an incredible Major League Baseball player. Like, whoops. I thought he was a damn supermodel.
Arguably one of the best offensive catchers right now in all of baseball. I mean, go look at, if you want to look at some good numbers, go look at Wilson Contreras' numbers. That dude has been awesome. He's been awesome,
dude.
But yeah, I was, it's funny. I was hoping that we would get like some breaking news during this episode. Now, I'm waiting for that moment where we're filming something and like news breaks, but unfortunately nothing broke. We'll film this, but we will we'll keep updating you guys when news breaks. We'll be putting out little shorter episodes whenever there's a free agency signing or a big trade.
Also, I just gotta say, my bad. Wilson Contreras is on the fucking Cardinals, dude. I was like, who am I fucking mixing him up with, dude?
Wait, were we thinking of William Contreras?
I think we were thinking of William Contreras, but we were saying Wilson Contreras.
Oh my god, dude. We might have to delete this whole segment.
Dude, what are we doing?
Oh my god. Wait a second. Wait a second.
Gosh, what are we doing? It was William Contreras. I'm an idiot. I was right. It was William Contreras of the fucking Brewers. I was like, of course it's not Wilson Contreras. God, I'm an idiot.
I mean, I didn't correct you. I just kept going. This is what happens when you have a high noon while you're recording a podcast. I should not do these things with a drink.
Yeah, dude, I had a bruchacho like a dummy, dude. Yeah, his his older brother is fucking Wilson Contreras, dude. William Contreras. I'm sorry. Done. You're a stud. You have great fashion choices, and your philanthropy is legendary. I'm a William Contreras fan now.
I'm a huge William Contreras fan, dude. Yeah.
And you know what? I'll never fucking mistake you for your brother again, William. You're a sweetheart. But you know what, Jeff? That is the type of dedication to real journalism that we bring to you, the viewers, here at Deferred Collusion Podcast. Jess, this has been another awesome episode. I love to do this with you.
Oh, man.
I mean, hey, boys will be boys, baby. We'll make a little goof here and there.
Yeah.
But, I forgot to do a little editorial, too, when we were talking about our galaxy. And I said that
that's true.
That the ownership was removed, but it was the GM that was removed. That was my goof. I got a little excited mixing up with John Fisher. I was taking swings at him. So
it's okay.
Everyone, thank you. Thank you for joining us. As always, remember to like us, subscribe to us, check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. This is my boy, my partner in crime, my man Jesse James, out Monroe.
Nobody's. Are you trying to get your hand around the window around me?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to size it. Like, this is where he's at. But I last time I saw it, I was like, oh, we got flipped, and I was trying to frame the wrong side like an idiot.
Gotcha.
Dude.
Yeah, it's okay. But you know what? I think that this is a valuable lesson that we're going to do our due diligence from now on. And you know what? We're never going to mistake the Contreras brothers ever again after this episode. It's never going to happen.
mean, hey,
Here's the thing. No, you know, even though the truth is this, Wilson Contreras is the bigger name for sure.
True.
But William is the better player. So I guess I just like mixed it up in my head where I thought like, oh, Wilson's the better player because he's the better name. That was a mistake. I apologize, William.
Hey,
I apologize to the
boys
Contreras
baby.
family. Yeah.
But Jesse,
all right, guys. Yeah.
You know what? I got 2 words for you. If you don't like when we make a goof and call a Contreras by the other name, you can suck it. Degeneration X.
There it is.
Just go ahead and
I've been waiting 40 minutes for that. Have a good one, guys.
We love you, dude.
Peace.